Welcome back to Darren 6772. Today we're working on the 1971 Cheyenne in Spanish Gold. I have been busy, folks. I have been busy wiring and just chasing my tail. That's all right. I know last time we left off with all this, I got my brackets all done, got all my belts on, tensioner all set on here. I got everything in order the way I want it. My belts are in line. Looks pretty darn good, ready to run. It looks kind of funny, I know, with a radiator hose. But I was just making sure it fit up in here, this spot right here. Just making sure it fit on the tube. Yep, right here. Getting my wiring started. Okay, so wiring. Before we get into wiring, I might as well tell you, I was working on my linkage. And I got my kick down to where it works properly. And I was working on my throttle cable, and it's over by the door because I wanted to make it a little tighter, maybe like Tom tight, and I broke it. So I got to order another one. Oh, I did want to show you this neat little spacer I made. I don't know if you can really tell, but it fits around this bolt here. Goes through here, and it's got my tensioner through here. And so my tensioner didn't walk off. I turned this on a lathe. I made this a wider end and beveled it down. I thought it was pretty cool looking. Anyhow, starting on wiring. Here we go with the wiring. This is a lot of fun, the wiring. I have had fun. I'm going to start off with ground wires. There's nothing more important than a ground wire. That is a braided, tinned, copper grounding strap. Yes, it's way too big, but it's going to go right from the block up here, over here to the frame, right here in this hole right here underneath. And on top of this will be where the same bolt that hooks all this together will go to the battery negative. So the frame is grounded good, and the block is going to be grounded good. And then I'm just going to cover grounds real quick, and then we'll move on. Got a ground strap. This is braided copper as well. That'll go to the head. And then I'll have one on the other side that goes to the intake. And then underneath the truck, I'll have one from the frame to the body. So that's grounding. We get grounding out of the way. Not a huge issue. Let's just talk over these wires real quick. Then we'll move along to what I'm working on right now. So here's the original fuse block that comes out from the firewall. And it loops up here and goes through a little holder. That's the way they had it. And it's got this kink in it so it goes inside the fender. Which, by the way, the next show, I hope to get at least the inner fenders on this and the radiator core support on this. We'll start looking like a vehicle again. Until then, I got to get the dead blame wiring done. So this goes inside the fender well. Comes around to the front, and the headlights, and the horn, and the mess. This other wire here that I'm holding, this goes up to the alternator. It doesn't look like I haven't been working on it, does it? Yeah, I have been. So what I did, and it comes all the way over here to this side, and that's where it'll hook to the battery. And this is where GM took their original power. We'll show you that. This is GM's main wire. I believe it's a 12 gauge. It might be a 10. I can't quite tell, and you can't read it after 50 years, if it ever said. But that's the main wire that runs this entire truck. And it's not enough. These trucks are classic for, and I'll run you over there, for burning out the plug and the switch to the fan motor. This is what the last guy did as a repair. That's not good. He put new ends on it, the slip-on ends, and taped them up, and okay. But you'll see how hot it gets in this wire. See all that wire casing from another wire? It's stuck on there. It melted right to it. The stuff gets too hot. It's not designed right. I admit it. This blue one's the worst. Look at this darn thing. It's just got stuff stuck everywhere. Melted right to it. Anyway, melted wire. That's the 68. We'll talk about the 68 in a minute. We'll give a quick update on the 68. So back on this truck. So the original harness comes out of the box, the block, and swoops up here and comes down. My added wiring comes out right here. It swoops up and ties into this original wiring harness, and I've wrapped the whole thing 3 times now, but we're not going to go there. So it's all original looking. It looks totally normal, but the original wiring harness is all there. All the original wiring that like feeds for the brake emergency, the little emergency brake light come on when you got a problem. That's all the original brown wire, and we come up here and we have the purple wire goes to the starter, the red wire to the coil, and green wire goes to the thermostat. Well, the temperature control. So I've hidden my add-on wiring in here, and I'll make a complete diagram. But this is kind of cool, people. You can get these things at, I think it's called LED.com, LED light something, I can't remember, but LED, you know what, I'm going to take a second and go look. Just take a second. It even has a cover. I don't know if it's waterproof, but put the cover on, roll it in. What's that say? I can't read it. Can you read it? I can't read it. Focus. Okay, it doesn't say. Online LED store. This fuse box is cool. First off, it is a 100 amp fuse panel. And then I didn't grab my light, did I? Oh, there it is. And it's the neatest thing. You ever had a fuse blow out on something? And you get underneath the hood and you're pawing around in there forever trying to figure out if one's blown out and which one's blown out and you can't tell. You're in the book looking in the diagram. Okay, here's the old fuse panel right up here. Yeah, I'm trying. All right there. That's the original fuse panel. It's in good shape, but we don't want to overload it. We don't even want as much load as it came with. So I added this fuse block up here. Now you see all them red dots? Those are LED lights. It's a 10 position, fed from the bottom. And if a fuse burns out, the red LED light will come on. So all you gotta do is look underneath here, just at a glance, and you can tell if your fuses are good. You're not pulling them out and trying to get your glasses out and a magnifying glass and pair of needle nose pliers, and oh, what a mess. The LED will tell you in an instant. Pretty cool, pretty cool. So that was what we were dealing with wiring. I started wiring the radio, and I've just been bouncing around everywhere. You can wire about, focus is terrible today. We'll just keep moving. So you wire half of the radio, and then you run into a problem where you got to get the ductwork in. You get half the ductwork in, you realize, well, now I'm back to the radio. You put you in a tripod. Then I can make this, not kick the camera off. All right, because I got something else to show you. Whew, boy, it's just been a rough one for me. So this is I'm going to bring it up a little bit. And we're going to show you some fun stuff. So this is what we're working on right now. Here is that's all you need, nothing else. That's air conditioning control. All right, but what I do want to show you was fun stuff, people. This solenoid here, it's a micro switch. And that's part of the wiring harness that they give you. You screw in a couple of holes here and you put the bracket on they give you. It mounts that micro switch, so when you turn the air on, it turns the air on. Kinda clever. I'll give them credit for that. Neat idea. So we're gonna try and rustle this in there. So I'm gonna go ahead of you here. Hang on a second, I'll bring you right in. I don't want you tripping on all these wires. Everybody knows I haven't. Not even once. Nope, not even once. Get you over there where you can see inside the truck now. And I'll turn that light back on. Oh. We're sitting pretty good. Oh, that's sitting real good. You probably can't see a darn thing, but you can see me struggle. You only like to watch me struggle. That's a pretty good spot. You don't use the dash, do you? Nah. All right, enough talking. So I kind of ran you around here to show you everything going on because That's what I've been doing, running around here trying to figure out what's going on. Oh, that light's gonna be in my eyes. Can we put that in the roof or something? That'd be kind of. Is that in your way? If it is, I'm sorry. I'm not getting back out to see. So all this goes in there. I didn't tell you, but maybe you can see. But all these tubes I ran back into, all the duct work, zip tied them, and one of them just didn't want to stay. I didn't like the way they just got these little tiny nipples that it hooks to, and kept wanting to pull loose. I don't want to come back in here, so I used a hose clamp on it. Boy, that'll hold it. I don't know. You could put a garden hose to it, it probably wouldn't come loose. Now I haven't had this in here yet. That wasn't very smart, was it? I probably should have done this before you guys were watching me. Wouldn't be any fun if I just didn't struggle with it. Act like I've never done this before. I've done this before, but it's been a while. I don't know if I mentioned it to you, but I'm not a mechanic. I didn't go to school for this. Hey, look at there. Yeah, I'll get all cocky and watch. I'll take it right back out. Everything else I do, I gotta do it 3 times. I think I'd be good at it. I'd videotape the last time if I knew which time was gonna be the last time. I'd never know. I'm always a mate. That's the wrong end. Wrong. Why would it be? Original screws. That's how they mounted it. That's how we're gonna mount it. You gotta have it level. You gotta have it straight. Gotta have it even. Nobody's ever gonna care, but I care. Phillips head screws. Kind of shocking. I would have figured. Well, I guess that way it looks good. Can't see under here for the most part once you get to see it moving up. There we go. Is that even? Can you see if that's even? I can't tell. I'll move it again later. I said it already later. I just started this video and I even said later. There's always something for later. Yeah, it's crooked. Yep, absolutely. You know it would be. Not very tight. Yeah, I'm gonna get it straight and I'm probably gonna take it back out anyway. You know how that goes. Well, it's gonna stay crooked. No, it's not. I said I'd do it later, but I'm gonna go ahead and try it over here and do it now. Maybe this one can just go back a little bit. Yeah, right there. It didn't move a bit. I promise you it didn't. I'm gonna say, look at it now, look, it's straight. You can't tell. Whew. Yeah, read these directions in front of you. Probably not. You don't even know where I'm at. One of these cables goes through the firewall. One of these cables is hooked on my, excuse me. One of these cables goes to the defroster duct. One of these cables goes, I think, to the heater disconnect out front. I'm gonna pretend like I know what I'm doing. I'm gonna just wing it. That one goes out there somewhere. Probably going right down the middle of the carburetor. Nope, that's good. Yeah, that's good. Why's that thing gotta do that? That hole is like that big and I can't get it through there. It goes. It must be out there. I hear things banging around. Ooh, got one. I wonder which one of these goes to the controller. Ooh, that's loose. It's supposed to be loose? I doubt it. I'm betting this one. I wonder where that one goes. I got an odd feeling one of these don't even get used anymore because the directions didn't say anything about it whatsoever. They just talked about that cable goes out there and this cable goes there, and I thought, well, that one definitely knows that. And then I know this one runs the AC controller. Did you hear that? No, you didn't hear that. I'm thinking that one, is it supposed to do that? Yeah. I can't remember which one's the switch already. Right at the bottom one. I got that hot hole. You know what? I bet that's right. I bet I don't know. because the top one is here. That's the one you're not going to use. The original old one that only goes from the heat to defrost to heat. The icer to, it says outside. I bet you they don't use that one. I'll do something with it. Even if I got to run over there and open that vent, that'd be kind of neat, although I don't think it's long enough. It'd be something for me to mess around with for a whole day. That was awful long ago right there, though. I did something wrong. I'm sure of it. I'm going to have to read this. I'm not going to read it in front of you. I'll read it later. Anyhow, this plug I rewrapped, double wrapped. I like to over wrap. They didn't have it wrapped, but I wrapped it again. That plugs in right there. That's a piece of cake. The blue one, they say right on it, 12-volt switched. I don't remember. I think it's a blower, 30 amp blower. And then this long green one goes to the thermostat in here that actually tells if it's getting too hot or too icing up inside. This is the relay that I'll just screw up there somewhere you don't have to see it. Okay, let's go to the 68 real quick because we're going to do a dead end again here. I'll run you over there and look at that real quick. I've been working on that a little bit, not much. I'll videotape a lot of that unless Tom's here. So you might have noticed we got her flipped around, pointed in the right direction. This would be the front of the truck right here, so that we can put that engine over there right in it when it's time. But it doesn't look like I've been painting on it, but I sure have. I've been painting on a lot. I've got inside painted, bottom all painted because it was upside down. All we got left is right now to paint the top of it. And then when we get it turned on its side, because it's not done yet, because I still have to double up somebody's weld, they didn't weld the inside. We'll paint this top, so everything just sat there and dry. But what I wanted to show you was the C-notch. Now I did the C-notch with the vehicle, well, the frame upside down. And I really like it, but I guess I imagine not everybody can just flip the vehicle upside down and put C-notches in. I understand that. But with it upside down, you're actually working on a flat surface. You're gonna, you got the benefit, yeah, I know. You got the benefit of pushing down on all this and help keeping it together. What I did want to show you is, it's not quite done, nothing's done, save something for later. But you make sure, and I've seen guys do it, I'm not picking on them, it takes extra time. But if these brackets are made right, and you got to assume they are, you can get them completely tight. There shouldn't be gaps. And I see a lot of these videos of guys doing these and there's gaps. I don't know how well you can tell, but yeah. These, right here, this should sit right tight. All the way through here. I mean, there's a little bit because the frame is round and this is square. But those gaps, there shouldn't be a gap. Those should all bolt right tight to the frame. All the way around on the bottom, inside out. And if they don't, there's an issue. Don't call it close enough. I had some large wood clamps out here. I clamped it together before I drilled my hole. Once you drill the holes, now you got oblong holes. That's not good. You want just a one hole. These all lined up good to the frame down here. All the bottom is tight. All the top is tight. It turned out really good. And it should have. I think I spent 2 hours on each side. Yeah, that probably wasn't necessary, but I can't help myself. So there's where we're at on the 68 this week. It's coming, slow but sure. I think the next part of this project is going to be putting front spindles on. I think that'll be entertaining. I'll probably videotape that. We'll put it on the regular channel. Because I think, let me show you. I want to show you something. I think it's going to be interesting to see the route we have chosen. And Tom, in the end, he chose. But we're using these original A-frames here. The upper and lowers will be used, but the spindle will be removed and a new lowered spindle 5-on-5 bolt pattern will go on here. So it'll still be a truck rim, but it won't be the 6 lug garbage I don't care for. And of course we'll have I'll finish cleaning these all up, scrub them down, paint them. But when we have that apart, we put the springs in, we get the spindles on, we get the brakes hooked up. So that'll be a good video. I'm trying to get to that next week. That'd be fun if he comes over or not. I don't know yet, but we'll see. So that's the project for next week. And then I'm hope to have this wiring done. Will I ever get this truck finished? And then we'll start seeing me fight and struggle with putting on the fenders and the inner fender, outer fender. I got everything ready. I'm excited to start making this look like a truck again. We got our parts going back here. I gotta get the sticker off of that still. But and when we get our cowl painted, but we gotta work on talking about painting. We're gonna work on painting when it gets a little warmer out. And get my radiator in. I'm excited about this stuff. And then you might have seen up here, I've got to get that painted. And I got a little more work to do on it. It's not stone pecks or hail damage, it was just little rust flakes. So that, and one of the videos coming up before too long I want to do while it's drying here. We're going to put in this drip rail. Well, we're going to put in the self-leveling seam seal in there. I'm going to have to do a little body work first and prime it, but I want to do that before it gets too warm and muggy out. And then the last thing I wanted to cover was, you see I cover the windshield a lot. It's not that I'm afraid I'm necessarily going to break the windshield, but when you're grinding on stuff or you're welding on things around the windshield, it will ruin your glass. I watch it online all the time. Guys welding on the cowls and welding on their doors, and that splatter gets on the window, and glass is made out of sand. As soon as it gets hot, those little BBs will stick, and you'll eat wipers up with it. You can't scrape it. And if you finally get the dingles knocked off, then you got pock marks all on your glass with black rings around it where it burned it. So people, cover your glass up when you're welding or grinding around it. It's too expensive and too much work to not think about that. So I wanted to bring it up. Again, a short video. Kind of ran you around, showed you a few things. Next week we're going to work on those brakes and hopefully have some things tied together, do some body paneling. Again, I want to thank everybody. I think I'm up to I think it was 9 last week. It looks like I had 20 people watch my stuff, so I lost track. I just got so many people, and I thank you so much. Y'all take care. Goodbye.